Do we even know who is this 4chan? Oh, who is this 4chan? This 4chan. 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 4chan.
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 264. It is the third day of the week, the Spirit Bomb workout. I am feeling pretty good, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter at hand. Who is this 4chan? But no, for real, it's just 4chan in general. I wanted to discuss probably a few things that I remember from that website, a lot of stuff that it taught me, a few other things and like that. Just gonna do a general overview of the website. The main reason why I wanted to talk about it was because it recently got hacked and it's down, I think. I don't even know, I haven't checked it out, but apparently it's probably down. By the time this video is actually released, it'll probably be back up because realistically, there are a few things that were discovered, but we'll talk about that later. Can't let the busybodies on YouTube figure out what we're actually going to talk about later. But anyways, 4chan was a decent part of my life. I wouldn't say a decent part. It was there. It was every once in a while. I would troll on there every once in a while, just more of a lurker. Never really spoke or posted on there. Occasionally, but only very rarely. I was always on there. I'll get into some stories and a few life lessons learned, because there was a lot learned from that website, to say the least. But some good, some not so good. Some traumatic, some not so traumatic. So we'll get into all those things, maybe a couple other description things and all that other stuff. If you do not know what 4chan is a image board filled with a bunch of boards, message boards particularly, that are for people to talk about whatever. Each has an individual theme for the most part. Some safe for work, others not safe for work. Just depends on what you're trying to get out of it. The most popular and notorious one is /B, which is random. It's just a whatever the fuck anybody wants to post. Usually the source of a lot of stuff from that website. Not the only source though. There are a couple of others that are notorious as well. Yeah, so, and we'll get to that later probably. And maybe even I won't even get into it that much, because I might actually do episodes about these particular boards that I have experienced, and some that I know about adjacently, but I don't really go on them or have gone on them. But I'll say this, as for now, I have not been on there for a little while. It's just been years. It's just not the same. And I actually probably found out why it's not the same. So we'll get into that. But with that being said, before I get into the basement, I would like to say this, or at least ask, if you have any 4chan stories, please leave it in the comments below. And with that being said, I will see you in Mother Base.
Alright, so started this day with the AD press, which was pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand here. 4chan, or just my experience with it in general. I'll say this before I start. Never went on fitness. I was never a fitness person when I would go there. My fitness journey, I hate calling it that, but that's what I'm going to call it now, did not start until much, much later, past the time I was actually on the website regularly. So this was a long time ago. Well, and even then, I wasn't on it regularly. I would say I'd go on it every once in a while when I was bored and realized, oh, hey, maybe I should do this for a little bit of fun. But anyways, I don't even remember when I started using it or just going on 4chan. I remember just seeing it in some type of forum somewhere, probably like NeoGAF or some stupid ass forum back in the day. And I was like, let me go on there and check it out. So I went to go check it out, and I remember the first time I went on there. It was a intense ride that I did not think I would get ever on again. I remember particularly going on the random forum, particularly, and seeing things that, well, a young man should probably not see. And in fact, most people in the world probably shouldn't see. Let's just leave it at that. But it opened my eyes to the realities of the internet, in which case you got to be very careful about the places you go on the internet. But of course, intrigue plus being bored on the internet makes it so you kind of want to visit again and see what else is on there. And there was a lot to learn from there. I will say one of the best places was the torrenting Tor board, which was really good. I did enjoy using that one for a lot of different things, as well as GIF and as well as high resolution. So There are a few others like that are very nice to use, but generally speaking, a lot of the times that I was there, I realized, oh, hey, believe absolutely nothing that these people have or say. Or, hey, sometimes they are actually telling the truth about certain things. I will never forget that one because I remember watching the thread of a guy who was like giving a location of some girl and was like, go here, she's buried. And turns out, yeah, there was somebody buried there, and it was a big fucking deal. And I remember seeing that as it was happening. It was like a live event where somebody had actually murdered someone. So sometimes the crazy things that will happen on there just do happen. But that's just like scratching the surface on a lot of the stuff there. Obviously, there are the green texts that aren't real. Obviously, half of the stories aren't real. I don't believe half the people are real. I mean, nowadays, none of it's real because we know now that a good chunk of the posts on there now come from a very, very, very particular country in the Middle East that we are not allowed to talk about directly. But let's just say they have a white and blue flag, and that's all I'll say about that. Of all the things that they have contributed through, I would say, society with the meme wars of 2012, I believe, against Tumblr and things like that, 4chan was a decent place where sometimes you would actually get a lot of information that that'd be useful, honestly, in a lot of different aspects. Of course, there were people that were trying to scam you out of $5 or your credit card information and, things like that. And also you would see things that you should probably not see especially when you're younger. You don't need to see decapitation videos. That's one of those things that you just don't need to see in your life. You can if you want to, but you don't need it, especially when you're young. So that is something, but it is something that has shaped me in certain aspects and areas of the world, a desensitivity to certain things where I'm not really worried or scared, but also a defense mechanism to find out what is real and what isn't real on the internet, because a lot of people will lie on the internet, but it's up to you to discern whether or not they're lying or they're lying to make fun of you. That's the other part that a lot of people do not realize to this day, that a lot of people are making fun of you by lying to you. So you got to watch out for that one. And also never buy 4chan gold because it is a scam. Or is it? This video is totally fake and gay. You just watched something that was pure AI. Little did you know. And we're back! Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter here. 4chan. I used to be somebody who used to go on it a lot, but not able to say a lot, but a decent amount. It would be something that when I was bored, I was like, all right, time to check it out. Nowadays, not as much, but then again, as we've found out in recent hacks, that a lot of it comes from a specific country over in the Middle East. One that is currently bombing another country, but hey, that's a whole other subject for a whole other day. Hell, even a whole other channel, because we're not going to get into that political can of worms here. Maybe one day. And that day is not today. But 4chan is one of those websites that now I truly believe has become terrible because it's been infiltrated by people that probably shouldn't even be on it, one. Or two, their brains have degraded so much to the point that if they haven't left already, they've become pure mush, and it's just not the same like it once was before. It used to be very much a wild, wild west of what you could find on the internet. I didn't even come during the peak. The peak was like the early 2000s, whenever it first launched and stuff. I was in it in the late 2000s, early 2010s, that era of that. What I was a quote new fag at the moment, but that's a whole other subject for a whole other day. But I did enjoy my time while I was there. I did learn a lot from them. I learned never to click on anything, that everything is a joke, nothing is real on the internet, and also that you can find a lot of shit that you want for free. You can, like a lot of it. You don't really have to try hard. You just have to learn how to do a couple back-ass words things, and then boom, you got free shit. But that we can't really discuss here because, well, we're not on the right platform. But overall, would I recommend the website to anybody not in today's state? Obviously, I might still be hacked. I don't know. Right here, it says yes or no. But personally, I find it the shell of a shell of it once
former greatness. Now it's just a back post for most people to put on green text 4chan stories on YouTube that end up just being Reddit posts that they reconvert into green text stories. So yeah, not nearly as cool as it once was. Although if you say you hang out there now, you kind of cringe anyway. So let's be 100% honest. I mean, you can be cringe and free. It's just kind of like, all right, brother, what are you doing? There are some boards that are still all right, like TV, I know, and music. I've never interacted with music, but I know that they're all right. Well, for the most part. But that's a whole other subject for a whole other day. With that being said, though, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one, because this is a video about a specific website. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts and opinions about it, if you ever interacted with it or not, or heard about it, or it was like the woman in the very first clip where you were like, what is this 4chan? Which is the dumbest thing ever, but you know, it is what it is. But please leave it in the comments below. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. It's starting to get a little cooler, or hotter, so you know, stay whatever is going to be comfortable in your area. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.